Hello and welcome to your Unshakable Inner Peace Mindset Masterclass. I am so excited to have you here today with me to go over shifting your mindset from anxiety, fear, and overwhelm and into unshakable inner peace. So I wanted to start off by going through what my intention is. And that is to share with you everything that I have learned myself and that I have helped my clients incorporate to shift their mindset out of anxiety, fear, and overwhelm and into inner peace, but most importantly, to become unconditionally grounded in our inner peace, to become unconditionally grounded and anchored in our truth, knowing that we are safe, knowing that we are strong and that we can get through anything and that everything is going to be okay. And giving you that sense of empowerment and taking your power back. So many times we allow outside circumstances to dictate how we're going to feel. And really the only thing that we have power or control over is how we respond to things. So using our mindset and thoughts to respond in a positive way to anything that's going on around us is really what we're going to cover today. So let's get started. Okay, so looking at the facts. And I find that any time that I am in a state of fear or worry, it's because I'm thinking about something that's happened in the past or I'm worrying about something that might happen in the future. And so many times, actually every single time, everything that I worry about that might happen in the future never actually happens. My brain is so dramatic and such an amazing storyteller that it can come up with crazy storylines, crazy ideas that never actually happen in real life. And if I'm worrying about the past, the truth is you can't change anything about the past. You can't go back and make anything different. And so the most empowering thing you can do for yourself is to focus on what is happening right now. What is happening with you right now? So whenever you find yourself worrying or in a state of fear, stopping, just noticing it, acknowledging it, honoring your feelings, honoring yourself, and then just asking yourself, like, where am I right now? What is happening to me right now in this moment? And what you'll find most of the time is that you are completely safe, that everything is okay. So for example, if you're watching this, I'm going to assume that you are in a safe space, whether it be your home or a coffee shop or something. You have internet connection, you have a computer or laptop or iPhone or iPad or something that you're watching this on, and you've taken time out of your day to do that. And that right there tells me that for the most part, you are in a safe place to do that. So the reality is that you are safe in this moment and that you have nothing to worry about. The next thing that I wanted to share with you is how our brains work. And the truth is that they are designed to get excited when we think about or we see dramatic stories and events. So this is why we love reality TV. This is why we love watching the news, because every time we see something dramatic happening, our brain's like, ooh, oh my God, this is stimulating my brain and it's exciting. And we naturally want more of it, but we don't realize the impact that it has on us, where we see one bad event on the news or whatever it is, story on TV, and we somehow relate it to our life and how that could happen to us or that has happened to us. So it's proving that that bad things happen to good people or whatever the belief is. And the other thing that I wanted to touch on is that our brain works in two ways. It thinks a thought and then it proves it right. Whether it's right or not, it doesn't matter. It doesn't know the difference. It just does its best to prove your thoughts right. And so that's why when you're playing games like I Spy with my little eye, everything that's blue, you see everything that's blue all of a sudden. Or when somebody says, yeah, I'm buying this new car, this model, once you drive on the road, you see all of the same kind of cars. And before, you had never noticed it before because it wasn't in your awareness that people even drove that car or owned that car. And so just knowing that your mind does its best to prove yourself right. And every thought that we think is evidence of that. It's trying to do its best to prove yourself right. So if you think a thought of worry of like, oh my God, what if this horrible thing happens, then your brain's going to pick up on any single little thing that could equal this is or this bad thing is going to happen, or it's like evidence of like, see, bad things happen to good people, or whatever the story is. The next thing that I want you to be mindful of or just be aware of is that our brains are designed to think a new thought every 17 seconds. So you think a thought, then your brain processes that thought, and then it links it to a new thought. So when you're watching the news, for example, you see something horrible happen to somebody, and your brain goes, oh my God, that's so bad. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be her. Actually, I know a friend of an uncle that happened to, and this is what happened to her after. And then her life spiraled and went downhill from there. And then what if that happens to me? And how would my mother react? Or how would I react? And blah, blah, blah. And you go like in a whole downward spiral from there. So you're going to notice yourself now that you're aware of this, that you do this, that once you start thinking a thought that is on the not so pleasant side, that it's very easy for you to hop on that train and go all the way down until you find yourself into a horrible situation of thinking thoughts of like, oh my God, something horrible is going to happen to me, and it's literally happening right now, and you're fearing for your life, when in reality, that's not true. And I just also want to just mention, I think I've told you this before, but just in case I haven't or you haven't heard, I have suffered from PTSD, twice in the past. And so again, these are things that I have noticed for myself and also clients of mine, that it's very easy to go down that spiral and allow ourselves to get triggered by stories or by events. And even though things happen in our lives, they are meant to make us stronger. And the example that I want to give to you, one of my coaches was telling us a story that a university had done this study of, they planted a tree in this simulated environment. And so the trees and the flowers had the perfect amount of light. They had the perfect amount of fresh air. They had the perfect amount of rain. And what they found with these trees and the flowers was that after they grew to be a certain height, or after a certain amount of time, the trees would fall over. And this would happen to the trees because the roots weren't ingrained into, like, they didn't take hold of the soil, in the soil. So it just goes to show that in nature, it's windy, there's storms that come, winter comes if you're in Canada or somewhere where you experience winter, that things that we would consider uncomfortable actually make us stronger, and they make the tree to be able to anchor its roots down into the ground and really take hold of itself so that it could stand firmly and strongly and be the tree that it's supposed to be and give us shade and provide fresh oxygen for us. And that without experiencing that uncomfortableness of really strong winds, of storms, of not having the perfect amount of water and the perfect amount of timing or whatever it is, that it just makes the tree stronger and gives it character. And no different than with the tree, us as human beings on this earth, we are going through experiences that I believe we have predetermined lessons that we're here to learn. And we already came on this planet knowing that we were going to learn these lessons and that we were going to go through these experiences, and they're not good or bad or right or wrong. They're neutral. Us human beings on this planet we categorize them as good or bad or right or wrong or whatever it is. But really, they're just lessons that we're here to learn and experiences that are meant to make us stronger. And so that in itself, I find is really empowering, to just feel like I'm not a victim, that I actually chose this life. I chose these experiences, even though they suck. But I'm here to learn a lesson. I'm here to overcome them. I'm here to be stronger and to become a better person because of it. Makes me feel so much better, so much more empowered, so much more in control of my life versus being a victim and just staying stuck and being upset about everything. I hope that makes sense. So next I wanted to go into what can we do about it. So there are a few things that I'm going to go through with you today that I'm going to touch on the first few points lightly, and then the last one, reframe your thoughts, I'm going to go more in depth because this is what the masterclass is about. So my first thing that I always do and recommend you to do is to ask God for help. So that could be a quick prayer when you notice yourself going down a downward spiral of thoughts, of just asking God, like, dear God, please cleanse my thoughts. Please guide me back to inner peace. And another prayer that I like to ask or to say to myself is, dear God, even though right now I'm feeling X, or I'm worried about Y, I choose to rise above it. How can I feel X or whatever it is that you want to feel? Please show me the way. So just asking God for help, acknowledging that you're doing it again, and you want His help to guide you out of it, to cleanse your thoughts, release any thoughts that no longer serve you, and to move forward with thoughts of peace, of ease, of joy, or whatever it is that you're looking to feel. The next thing is to pray for peace. And I have an inner peace prayer. The PDF or the image is going to be below this video, so you can save that and save it onto your phone or your desktop and just go to it whenever you need to. And the inner peace prayer goes like this. Dear God, I give this moment of silence to you. Please dissolve my thoughts of stress and fear and take me to a place of inner peace. Amen. So it's just really simple, really short, and it's just bringing you back to relaxation, to knowing that you're not drawing on your own strength, you're drawing on God's strength, on God's thoughts to be your thoughts, and to be supported. The worst thing that we can do for ourselves is to suffer in silence. Of course, you don't want to share your stressful thoughts on your kids or on other people and make them stressed out, but just sharing it with God or somebody who can hold space for you and really bring you back to that place of inner peace and remind you that you are safe in this moment and that everything is perfectly okay. The next one is another one of all of these are my favorite, but breath work is one of those things that I just love doing. And so we're going to just take a moment to do a quick breathing exercise. If you are interested in learning more, there is a video down below that goes into several different breathing exercises that you can do for different for different things or in different moments that you're having in your life. But for right now, we're just going to do one really simple one. So first, I'm going to explain, why breath work is so important and so effective. When we breathe and we are in a state of fear and anxiety, I want you to notice your breath. And I almost guarantee you that when you're in a state of anxiety or stress, you're not breathing fully. You're not fully expanding your lungs. You're really breathing in a very shallow, short breaths and in a very shallow way. And that really, really is so bad for you, but also makes your brain think that like you're lower on oxygen because you're not breathing fully. And for your brain, it's like, oh shit, you're going into danger zone. Like this is flight or fight response, and you kick into that high gear, and of course your thoughts just kind of spiral down with the rest of your body because it thinks it's in danger. It thinks it has to like run for its life. And so it's trying to get as much oxygen as it can to your main body parts so that you can run from like a tiger, if we were back in like caveman days. But really, we don't live that life anymore. But our brains don't know that. It just knows that we're in danger and we need help and we need to run away from whatever is threatening us. So keeping your breath in mind. So whenever you find yourself in a state of anxiety, a state of worry, take a moment and take a nice deep breath. And so the way that I want you to breathe in is I want you to place your hands on your rib cage, and I want you to breathe in through your nose and visualize your breath going into your rib cage and your rib cage expanding out, filling up your belly. So this is what I call a deep belly breath. So you're going to inhale and you're going to visualize and direct your breath to go down through your lungs and down into your belly, expanding your belly out and your rib cage out. And then on the exhale, contracting your rib cage and pulling your belly button in towards your spine. So you're totally exhaling everything out of you. And then automatically you're going to take an inhale again, and you're going to see like it's such a deep belly breath. You're inhaling so much more oxygen, so much more air than what you thought you could. And just find a natural rhythm of breathing that is really deep, that's a deep belly breath for you. So inhaling all the air going into your belly, expanding your lungs, filling up your lungs. And then exhaling, pulling your belly button in towards your spine, letting everything out. And just allowing yourself to breathe fully and deeply and completely. And I find after taking some really nice deep breaths, your body just relaxes. It just feels so much more at peace, so much more calmer. And your brain gets to relax because it's actually receiving the oxygen that it needs. And your heart rate slows down. And you just come back into a place of inner peace. So I hope you enjoyed that. And now we're going to move on to reframing your thoughts. So how to reframe your thoughts in the moment. When you're in the moment and you are feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling really stressed out, you can either do this, you can take a moment right now to go through the exercises and think of a time when you felt like this, but really noticing in the moment is really going to help as well. So the first thing is to identify what are your triggers? What is it that happens in your life that brings you back to a place of stress, of worry, and fear? So for me, like I said before, I've gone through PTSD a few times, and so hearing loud noises, like a door slamming really hard unexpectedly, or so that you can change the way that you worry, and going through the points that I said earlier of cleansing your thoughts, asking God to cleanse your thoughts, asking God for help in breathing, but just being mindfully aware and acknowledging that you're at this place again. So just being mindfully aware, that in itself is so helpful. And it takes a while. So just be gentle with yourself. And the next thing that you can do for yourself is to instantly forgive yourself. Acknowledge that this is just a pattern, a habit that you have formed throughout the years or throughout however long it's been, and that it doesn't mean that you're a good person or a bad person or anything like that. It just means that you have a habit of thinking a certain way, and that's okay, because you are doing something about it now. You are taking steps forward to a question to ask yourself when you're in the middle of it and kind of like don't even know where to start on like how can you turn this around, to just ask yourself like, what would journal on it afterwards, but after you've done it for not a long time, but after you've done it quite a bit, you'll start to remember the questions, and you'll be able to ask yourself these questions in the moment. So journaling questions to ask God. Number one, self right now. I trust that no matter what, I'm going to be able to figure it out. I trust that I will always do my best at all times. I trust that I will make the right decisions for myself. Making a list of everything that you trust about yourself to really just increase that empowering feeling that you can trust yourself. And also, if you want to build your connection more with God, you can write a list of everything that you trust about God right now. And I find that to be very helpful also. Like, I trust that He's always with me at every moment, every single day. I trust that He is organizing around my success. I trust that He is guiding me. He's guiding my thoughts. He's guiding my words. He's guiding my actions all the time. And just making a whole list and just going back to that list whenever you need a boost, whenever you're like stressed out or worried, and coming back to, oh yeah, I trust myself. Even though I'm worried about this, I know I can like get through it. I know that I'm going to be able to figure it out. I know that I have all the resources I need to move forward. So I find that to be really helpful. The next journaling exercise is to think of a time when you overcame a tough situation and use that as evidence that you can do it again. Life is never going to be perfect. There's always going to be something unexpected that happens. Hopefully not, but there's always going to be something unexpected that happens that in the moment, when we're in the moment, we're going to think like, oh my God, it's the end of the world, when really it's not. But because we're stressed out and we're probably not breathing the way we're supposed to be, our reaction might not be the greatest. But remembering a time when I overcame PTSD the first time and then the second time, and that's just evidence for me that, hey, you know what? I can get through it. Even though it took a while, even though I needed help, even though it sucked, I got through it and I'm okay now. And also having evidence of other people that have gone through it. So if you have a coach or a mentor or somebody that that you admire, or like Gabby Bernstein is somebody who I read her books and she's gone through some similar things that I have gone through. And so just using that as evidence of like, hey, she did it and I can too. And that is for the reason of training your mind to believe that like to train your mind to look for that evidence, to train your mind to, it thinks a thought and then it proves it right. So I think a thought of, okay, this happened to me, it sucks, but it's okay because I can get over it. And here's all the proof and evidence of the past, of like things that I've overcome in my past, things that other people have overcome in their past. And I know that I can do it too because here's all this evidence. So you're kind of just helping your brain do the work, and you're like directing your brain in a way, instead of you're allowing your brain to take over and like bringing you through the rabbit hole of going down that downward spiral. You're preventing that from happening and rewriting that story. The next thing I want you to journal about is, what is the lesson in all of this? You can take each situation separately, or you can look at it as a whole. I know I've done it both ways, and it's been really eye-opening. When you see certain patterns and certain habits or certain things playing out in your life over and over again, you're like, okay, this is a bigger lesson than what I thought it was. So what is like the overarching, what is the big lesson here that I'm supposed to learn? There's always little lessons in every situation, but there's usually like a bigger theme lesson that we're supposed to learn. So doing that is very helpful. And just remembering that we chose to learn these lessons. We chose to be on this planet and go through these experiences so that we can learn these lessons. And it's empowering. And we're driving the boat pretty much. And that it's all okay. And the next question is asking, how would he have me respond? Or asking God, like, what is the best way that I can respond to this? What is the best way, like, if this were to happen again, or just rewriting the story, what would be the best way for me to respond? And if something similar happened, how could I do this differently? How could I respond differently? Asking for his guidance and visualizing yourself going through those events and responding differently is a great way to rewrite that story, so that next time you remember it from a more empowering way versus a disempowering way. And the next thing that I do, which I love doing, is to ask God to make this trigger, to make this event or lesson, whatever it is, to make this powerless over you. Like, declare, dear God, I am choosing to make this powerless over me, or please help me make this powerless over me. And that just gives you back so much of your power, like all of your power really, but it just like puts you in such an empowering place of like, this is powerless over me. Like, I don't care how many bad drivers there are out on the road. They're powerless over me. I decide how to drive. I decide how to react to their stupidity or to their, to the way that they drive. I decide, and I'm choosing to not give away my power. I'm choosing to not overreact, or not choosing to react in a way that I did before. And it just is so empowering. I love doing this. So you can write that out for yourself. And I also say it to myself when I'm, when I feel like I'm going to be in a position of fear or anxiety, I will declare whatever it is powerless over me, to just remind myself, like, I am in control. I choose how I can react. I have God supporting me, and it just feels so much better. And the next one is to just rewrite your new empowering truth. So rewriting your story. And I think I touched on this before, but just like to close it all off would be for your mind. Because your mind, okay, so every time you think a thought, or every time you go into that story of, oh my God, every time I drive, there's all these crazy drivers on the road and they almost hit me and I'm going to get in an accident. If I get in an accident, it's going to be horrible and my family's going to suffer. I'm going to suffer. Going through that story, your brain relives it. And even though it's not physically happening to you in this moment, your brain doesn't know the difference. It just knows this has happened, or like you're thinking these thoughts, it thinks that this is happening for real, and it knows how it feels in your body, which is shitty. And so it ingrains a roadmap, which is called the neural pathway in your brain, which is just like, okay, driving on the road equals suffering and pain for my family. And you really want to rewrite the story so that driving on the road equals I am safe and everything's okay. That I am at peace and everything's okay. That I get to where I need to go to peacefully, easily, and calmly. You want to rewrite that story so that your brain gets used to thinking and knowing that this is the way things go for me. So rewriting your truth, rewriting your story of, I do this and this wonderful thing happens and I feel this wonderful way about it. And so going over that, visualizing it if you like to visualize, and just tapping into that new truth so that when you are faced with a similar experience, you are not triggered in the same way to go into a spiral of fear or worry. Instead, your brain's trained to know that it's safe for you to do this. The other thing that I forgot to put on the slide is to write out affirmations of I am safe. I can't believe I forgot to put it on the slide, but anyways, I am safe is such a powerful affirmation. So for myself, I have written out, I have written it out in a few different ways. So I am safe to want this. I am safe to have this. I am safe to receive this. I am safe to experience this. So from the desire of wanting it, I am safe, to having it, to receiving it, to experiencing it in every single way that you experience, reminding yourself that you are safe. Like, it's safe for me to want this. It's safe for me to have this. It's safe for me to receive this. It's safe for me to experience this. It's safe for me. It's safe, it's safe, it's safe. So reprogramming your brain and reminding yourself that you are safe at every single moment of every single day is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. So making out a list and just reminding yourself every single day, all the time. That is one of my favorite affirmations to write out. So I hope that made sense to you and that you feel more empowered and at peace with knowing that you are in control of the way that you react and your thoughts, and more empowered knowing that you can direct those thoughts and you can direct those emotions to really work towards your advantage versus allowing them to take over and really derailing you and how you feel and how you think every single day. And I'm so excited to have you here. I'm so grateful to have you here. And if you have any questions about anything that I said today, please feel free to post it in the Facebook group, tag me, and I will respond back to you. Okay? And I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing day, and I can't wait to talk to you guys soon. Bye.